Well. The inaugural Miami GP was not as exciting as it was hyped out to be. There wasn't much action during the race, and the drivers really learned from their mistakes during the practice sessions and just kept a very clean race, which we are glad for. We didn't see a fight for the lead, apart from the one which happened on the ninth lap when Max just breezed past Leclerc. I mean, apart from that and a few squabbles here and there, it was a boring race. I mean, didn't expect this from Miami. What just happened? All in all, it was pretty straightforward. A few overtakes here and there, as I said, in the midfield. But the only bit of drama which we got was in lap 41 when Gasly and Norris made contact, which took both of them out of the race, and well, it woke us all up because it was 1 a.m. when the race started here in India, and it went all till around 2:33ish. So yeah, it was getting a bit yawn inspiring, if you know what I mean. Now, the collision between Gasly and Norris did bring out a safety car and did wake us all up, which also gave Perez a chance to put on a set of new fresh medium tires and attack Carlos. He did that. He failed to get into the podium places because, well, he outbraked himself and couldn't hang on. So that's that. Now, since we are on the topic of podiums, the reigning world champion Max Verstappen won the inaugural Miami Grand Prix, establishing that he goes on to win each and every race he finishes this year. That's going to be really interesting. Let's see how long this run works out for him. I'm really rooting for Max. That said, the Red Bull is looking really strong. Only if they can get rid of those reliability issues which keep propping up here and there. Charles followed Max in P2 and Carlos rounded up the podium in P3. Sadly, Checo missed out on the podium because of an earlier engine related issue which he suffered during the race, causing him to lose around 26 bhp of power. That's a lot. I mean, considering Formula 1, that is quite a lot. Yeah, that was all it took for Carlos to defend against him, and well, Carlos ended up on the podium and Checo didn't, but he was pretty close. But we are not here to just discuss how boring the race was. Well, it was a snooze fest, I will kid you not. It was taking a lot more than coffee to keep me up. I was yawning throughout the race. Yes, I was falling in and out of sleep as well. As I said, it did begin at 1 a.m. and I had a pretty packed day before that. But we are here to discuss the small things, the little things. For starters, let's talk about the circuit. In my opinion, the track looked okay at first, but later on it started to show its characteristics. For the best example is, apart from the racing line, the drivers didn't seem to have any grip on the track, which translated into little or no overtaking opportunities. It was almost like the drivers were trying to find dry lines on a wet track, and the only overtakes we saw either were due to DRS assisted long back straights, or overtakes made in the pits, or due to a DNF or two. It wasn't an ideal overtaking track. I mean, changes need to be made, and they need to make those changes to improve the racing, especially that turn 14-15 chicane. Many drivers complained about it. Only I think Charles was the one who liked that chicane. It was very technical. Max even said that sector 2 could be made a bit more flowing in order to improve the racing. Well, these are all problems which new circuits face, and improvement will always be welcome if it improves the racing. So looking forward for next year. Let's see what happens. Now, for all the Mercedes fans out there, are we beginning to see the resurgence, of the 8-time world champions. I mean, they did perform well in quali and in the race. Both Mercs finished in the top 6, which is really good, just behind the Red Bulls and the Ferraris, and it's a strong show of intent. This was all made possible because of the floor upgrades which they brought in for the weekend, and also because of George gambling to stay out in the hope of a VSC or a safety car, which he got. So he had a free pit stop and he gained. So George is keeping up his run of finishing in the top 5 in each and every race, which is really good for Mercedes as well as George. Now, talking about the floor, it has reduced the porpoising to a good extent. However, it has not disappeared altogether. But it is a step in the right direction, and they were struggling in FP3, no doubt. But I'm assuming that was purely because of setup changes which they were testing at the time. Are they going to be a threat to the top 2 anytime soon? I don't think so, not so soon. But it is one hell of a long season, which is why anything is possible. And the only thing is that the midfield is extremely tight, and most of the teams are bringing up upgrades in or around the Spanish Grand Prix, which is the next race. It is going to be interesting in which way Mercedes chooses to go. Let's see. I don't know about all of you, but I really like a good comeback story, and I really want Mercedes to bounce back, because who doesn't want that, right? And speaking of comeback stories, Carlos Sainz is finally back on the podium. I am so happy to see Carlos getting P3. Well, I agree he must have wanted more. He wanted probably to end up P2 or even have the race win, but well, after 2 consecutive DNFs, I think he wouldn't mind being back on the podium. I just hope he uses this momentum to bounce back for the Spanish Grand Prix, which is also going to be his home race. Now, wouldn't that be amazing if Carlos gets a top-notch finish at home? I won't say which position because I always seem to jinx him, but we all know what we want from Carlito, don't we? Now, we really can't end this video without talking about the absolutely American way they escorted Max to the podium. I mean, it's funny saying American. Anyway, I mean, was it really necessary to have 2 policemen escorting him with sirens blaring? I don't think so. Was it necessary to have the podium on the other end of the start-finish straight? I don't think so. Were the helmets needed? Hell no. But was it fun? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was unique. It was different. We could have done without the helmets, but well, it's all fun and games. Who cares? I to be honest got a lot of WWE vibes, the early WWE vibes when we used to have all that drama and pomp and show during the early 2000s or mid 2010s, and it was something about that camera angle when the cops were driving down the hallway. It just screamed WWE for me. The podium was huge. I guess it had to be because, well, everything in the US is big and large. And having Dan Marino give out the winner's trophy was just brilliant. Also, I don't know if you guys realize, but Spider-Man sneezing on the podium finishers towards the end was just the frosting we required, wasn't it? Anyway, those were my few thoughts about the Miami Grand Prix. If you have stuck around till now, please do hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and do comment your thoughts. We would love to hear them. P.S. There have been a few rumors about Aston Martin bringing some big upgrades at the Spanish Grand Prix, which might just transform their car altogether. Will it? Will it not? Well, for that we'll have to wait till we reach Spain on the 20th of May. Till then, I am Sid and this is the Minutverse. Bye guys.